Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today I have part 2 of my September book haul. I have... how many books do I have to show you? I should have had this all sorted out before I started. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books to show you. 3 of which, in fact no, 4 of which are sort of in the crime genre. Some of them are true crime, some of them are crime fiction, and I'm very excited to get to them. So without much further ado, I'm going to get into the books. So the first book that I have to show you is Killing for Company by Brian Masters. This is the case of Dennis Nilsen, the serial killer who in the 1970s and 80s killed and dismembered young men. He burnt them in his garden, he buried them under his floorboards, and was just generally a very not nice man. This was recently made into a television series on ITV, and it starred David Tennant as Dennis Nilsen. And it was terrifying. It was terrifying because the acting was incredible. The story, of course, is very grisly and gruesome. But it was also terrifying because David Tennant was the spitting image of Dennis Nilsen. It was brilliant. And if you haven't seen it, it's on ITV. You'll get it on catch up. You have to see it. And obviously this is the source material for that show. On the 9th of February 1983, Dennis Nilsen was arrested at his Muswell Hill home after human remains had been identified as the cause of the street's blocked drains. Within days, he had confessed to 15 gruesome murders committed over a period of 4 years. All his victims, all young homosexual men, had never been missed. Brian Masters, with Nilsen's full cooperation, has produced a unique account of the murderer's mind. Killing for Company is a groundbreaking criminal study of the serial killer and necrophiliac known as the Muswell Hill Murderer, and one of the most shocking books you will ever read. I cannot wait to get to this. When that'll be, I have no idea. It's being added to my ever-growing TBR of true crime. And yeah, I just can't wait to get to it because A, I love true crime. B, it's kind of like watching a car crashing in slow motion. You know it's wrong, but you can't look away. Yeah. So the next book I have to show you fascinates me endlessly. Whenever there's a true crime documentary on TV and this woman pops up, I know that we're in for a treat of like magnificent proportions. One of the reasons I love true crime so much is not the crimes themselves, although how those were committed and whatever else, the reasons behind those, the motives, that's interesting and all that. But for me, it's more the detection. It's more the clues that were left behind that the police find and how they can whittle that down and find who caused this mayhem that they're investigating. And this woman fascinates me. It's Traces by Patricia Wiltshire. Now this woman, she will find a piece of mud on the sole of your shoe or in the tread of your car tyre, and she will be able to tell where exactly you have been, where exactly that mud has come from, because, you know, there are pollen spores, there are certain types of clay and loam and all that kind of stuff in mud and in muck, and she deals with plant life as well, and she can narrow down exactly where you've been and the steps that you've taken to get there just by, you know, a bit of muck or a leaf of a plant that only grows in certain places. I find it absolutely fascinating and I can't wait to get to this. In Traces, Professor Patricia Wiltshire will take you on a journey through the fascinating edgeland where nature and crime are intertwined. She'll take you searching for bodies of loved ones, through woodlands and plantations, along hedgerows and field edges, from ditches to living rooms, solving time since death and how remains were disposed of. She will show you how pollen from a jacket led to a confession, and how 2 pairs of trainers, a car, and a garden fork led to the location of a murdered girl. She will give you glimpses of her own history, her loves, her losses, and the narrow little valley in Wales where she first woke up to the wonders of the natural world. From flowers, fungi, tree trunks to walking boots, carpets and corpses' hair, Traces is a fascinating and unique book on life, death, and one's incredible link with nature. Can't wait to get to it. And yet another one to add to my true crime TBR, which is huge. But yeah. The next one is another true crime case, and when I saw this in, I can't remember where it was. I think it was possibly a charity shop. I had to run some errands after work, and I popped into a charity shop that I don't usually go into, and I saw this on the shelf, and I thought that needs to be mine. And yeah, so here it is. It is Monster: My True Story, by Aileen Wournos and Christopher Berry-Dee. Now, Christopher Berry-Dee, I believe, writes a lot of true crime books, like I think he writes a series called Talking with Serial Killers or Talking with Psychopaths or something like that. I don't know a lot about the Aileen Wournos case. I know that she sold herself for sex and ended up killing her punters and claiming rape. At least I think that's the story behind it. I think she has since been put to death on death row. If I'm incorrect, I will pop something on the screen to say that I am. I don't think I'm incorrect. I think she was executed. But I've seen the movie, which I think is based on this book, and that stars Charlize Theron. I'm fairly certain I've pronounced that name correct. The most chilling book ever written by a serial killer. So this is actually written by her with the help of Christopher Berry-Dee, and I'm so excited to get to this. Oh my god, I'm so morbid, it's unreal. On the 30th of November 1989, electrical repairman Richard Mallory disappeared from his home in Clearwater, Florida. He had become the first of 8 victims of Aileen Lee Wournos, one of the very rare examples of female serial killers. Nobody understood what drove a woman to kill again and again. This is Lee's own story, backed by previously unpublished background research from leading criminologist Christopher Berry-Dee. She was born on the wrong side of the tracks in suburban Troy, Illinois. Wournos's dysfunctional family was a wreck from the day she was born until the day she met her own premature and agonising demise at the hands of Florida's state executioner. The subject of 3 motion pictures, countless TV documentaries, books and newspaper features, her status has been elevated to that of a murderous cult figure since her death. The story of the woman the media dubbed the Damsel of Death, Monster, is a minute examination of the inner workings of this female serial killer's mind, and a chilling yet revealing insight into the mind of a female psychopath from cradle to grave. This, I feel, will probably be a very rough ride, as will the previous 2 books that I have showed you. Yeah, so excited to get to these pieces of true crime. The next one is a crime fiction novel, so yeah, a bit less heavy going, and it is The Lying Room by Nicci French. I have never read any Nicci French. I think it was probably about a year ago, Jen Campbell over at Jen Campbell was reading the Nicci French books, and she discussed this one, and I thought, wow, that sounds absolutely incredible. I popped it on my wish list, forgot all about it, and the other day I saw it in Tesco's and I thought, I recognise the title of that book. And I picked it up, and it was the book that I remember, and I thought, I'm having it, it's mine, I'm taking it home. Clearly I paid for it first, but yeah. So yeah, Nicci French, The Lying Room. A trusted friend, a mother, a wife. Niamh Connolly is all these things. She's also made mistakes. She's only human after all. But now one misstep is spiralling out of control, and Niamh is putting those around her in immense danger. She can't own up to what she has done, so how far is she prepared to go to protect those she loves? And is there anyone she can trust? A liar, a cheat, a threat. Niamh Connolly is all these things. Could she also be a murderer? Now, from what I remember of Jen saying about this book was that Niamh Connolly, the protagonist in the book, is having an affair, an extramarital affair with a man who shows up dead, and she tries to get rid of all signs of her from him, so that she isn't implicated, or her secret isn't found out. And this fascinates me. I find that so interesting. And again, I can't wait to get to it. But when that'll be, who knows? Because, yeah, TBR, big thing. The next two books are very light-hearted, so I thought I'd start it heavy and I'd end it light. So, yeah, it's not all doom and gloom and death and guts and gore here today. So, yeah. So the second last one is the Puffin book of nonsense verse, illustrated by Quentin Blake. I am so excited to get to this. There are poems and limericks from people like Roald Dahl, Lewis Carroll, and just an absolute smorgasbord of other people, and it's so exciting. Like I say, it's illustrated by Quentin Blake, whose illustrations are just incredible. I grew up reading Roald Dahl, and I just absolutely loved the accompanying illustrations by Quentin Blake, because I feel that they made the story. I mean, Roald Dahl's writing made the story, but the illustrations just were like the cherry on top of an already perfect cake, if that makes sense. And I'm just so excited. I mean, it's just, look, it's just joyous, and I can't wait to get to it. I think this will probably be like the kind of book that you can dip into and out of. It's not necessarily one that you need to start and read from cover to cover. And I think it's one that you could revisit again and again. Quentin Blake's excellent selection of comical verse is pure entertainment for nonsense lovers of all ages. Here. His unique style of drawing brings a new perspective to every poem. Classic writers such as Lewis Carroll and Edward Lear. Sorry, I'm breathless. And Edward Lear are combined with more contemporary talents such as Robert? How did you get Robert from Roger, Graham? As Roger McGough, Margaret Mahy, and Russell Hoban, with 15 wonderfully absurd sections, including distracting creatures and chortling and galumphing. Can you make sense of so much delightful nonsense? Blake's illustrations add an extra spice making... I've read that wrong. Blake's illustrations add an extra... Blake's illustrations add an extra spice, making this a really tempting anthology, and that's by Bookseller. I got breathless, I tumbled over my words because I am so excited about this book. Yeah, I can't wait to get to it. So yeah, that's the Puffin Book of Nonsense verse. And just look at that front cover. Isn't that just perfection? Love it. Now the last one is really, really lighthearted. This is a children's picture book. And I'm not even sorry, I'm not going to apologise, because I think this is incredible. I've never read the books before, but I used to watch the cartoon when I was a kid, and I absolutely adored it. I absolutely adored it. And this book, the front cover, glows in the dark. I just love it. It's so amazing. It's Funnybones, the 40th anniversary glow-in-the-dark cover by Janet and Allan Ahlberg. And I love this so much. In a dark, dark house, in a dark, dark cellar, live some skeletons. Join Big Skeleton, Little Skeleton, and Dog Skeleton in the highly popular classic Funnybones. Janet and Allan Ahlberg are to children's books what Fred and Ginger were to dancing. And that's The Guardian. I love it. This is set out like a sort of comic strip, and the Funnybones, the skeletons, and their dog skeleton went on like adventures, and that was the premise of the cartoon that I watched. But I've never read the books, so I'm excited to get to this, and it's just gorgeous. I love it. It glows in the dark. I'm 34 years old, and a glow-in-the-dark book floats my boat. It just takes me back to childhood, and having like glow-in-the-dark stars and moons and planets stuck to the ceiling, or like on threads dangling, and having to have your light on to charge up the glow-in-the-dark stuff. I love it. It's just absolutely fantastic. I've blathered on about glow-in-the-dark stuff for too long. Thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.